Good morning, Patriots. How are y'all doing today?
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to change
And good
something here.
morning, Michael. How are you doing?
I'm very good. I'm just changing the background. Boom, look at that. This way network.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I mean, sometimes we do it like this, but some
Mhm.
people like to do it like this. I will defer to you.
No, I'm cool with that. Ah, so, as always, it
And
feels like it's been forever.
yeah. Everybody's piling in here. Hello, everybody.
Oh,
Lucas,
awesome.
Jacqueline, Carrie,
We got a lot.
Mitch. Yeah, they're coming in. Didn't leave anybody else out. AC Cruz, there you are.
Good morning.
Um, where's Joel? Isn't he supposed to be showing up here? What's going on with him? You talked to Joel?
I haven't actually,
Have you
and
ever met Joel?
I have actually. I haven't met him like in person, but I've met him through phone and video. Um,
All right.
I think email communication. Last time I saw said that he will not be able to make it this week, but he will be good for next week.
Okay. We have
So
yet
good
to
morning,
all
caller.
three of us. I'd like to do an episode with all three of us.
Yes,
So that
yes,
people
me
know.
too. Oh, well, so to be honest, I originally was going to have a different topic for today. Uh, a couple days ago, I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is great. We'll talk about it." Well, a lot has been happening in Texas, and at one point this week, the Supreme Court let Texas enforce their border law, the law
Right.
that
Lay
allows
that out real
Texas.
quick.
Yeah.
Lay
So
what happened there.
to give a very brief summary, SB 4, Senate Bill 4, is a law that Texas created last December, October. It was last fall. This law gives authorities in the state the ability to arrest people who are crossing the border illegally. Makes complete sense, right? It seems like that
Mhm.
should be a good thing. Well, the federal government didn't like that because they argued that took away, the job of the Border Patrol, which is a federal organization. So that's been in the courts for a while. Fast forward to this week. A few days ago, the Supreme Court, after the Supreme Court was reviewing the law, they were looking at it, they were seeing, is this something worth taking to the highest level, right? So the Supreme Court paused the law from being enacted because the law was originally supposed to become active at the beginning of March, I believe. But the Supreme Court paused it. Okay.
So they
They
can
didn't say yes
review
or
it.
no, they just paused it. A couple days ago, the Supreme Court 6-3 made a 63 ruling saying that law can be enacted. We're unpausing it. Okay. So that evening, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. This is amazing. This is a huge win for state sovereignty. Okay.
Hmm.
And I sent Gina the email, oh my gosh, we're going to talk about this. Later that night, at like 11 p.m., the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, okay, the lower court of appeals, repaused it. So
Yeah,
a
I'm like,
mere hours after the highest court in the land said it's okay, the lower court said, no, we're gonna pause it again. So
so how does that
the,
work? The Supreme Court is the highest court in the land. Is this a
the
renegade
only
lower court?
the only thing I can think of is that when the Supreme Court paused it, this border law case was already in the appeals court. The appeals court never made a decision on it. They were still analyzing it for its constitutionality. Okay.
Got it.
The But the problem was the appeals court was taking too long
And
because
then
if
the
they didn't make
Supreme Court
it
stepped in.
exactly would have been active. So the Supreme Court said, "We'll step in," but then they didn't solve anything. They just continued it being paused. So this is a big deal because for the first time you see a lower appellate court reneging a decision the Supreme Court made. This first time that I can think of. And of course, the state of Texas and the feds, they made their arguments at the appellate court on Wednesday morning, I think, or Thursday morning. Um, no decision has been made yet. It's still up in limbo, and it's frustrating on both sides because the left and the right are like, "Well, wait a second, what can we do this or not?" So I woke up Thursday morning pretty frustrated. I was like, of course, all the news stations felt frustrated because it's like we just wrote Supreme Court made this decision. Now we have to rewrite that actually. So, anyways, Chloe, yes, this is all nonsense. Absolutely nonsense.
So is it still paused? Is like what's going
It's
on?
still paused.
Is
Well, it's still paused, but Governor Abbott, Ken Paxton, uh, our vice governor, all said, "No, we're still going to do our job. We're still going to defend the
okay?
border. We're still going to like do the things that the federal administration has refused to do." So it's, it's pretty chaotic right now. I'm not gonna lie. So
Uncharted territory.
yeah, so this is great. Here's why it's great. Because where should we go when we are not in uncharted territory?
The
Where do we
Constitution.
go? Okay. Do we when we're in uncharted territory, do we get deported? No. When we are in uncharted territory, we have to go to a place that we feel the safest, right? By the way, that comment is regarding what the Mexican president said, saying that, "Oh, we won't let you deport illegals." Well, that's a whole nother can of worms right there. So basically, today's topic is making time for God's majesty. Y'all see that? Where do you run to when everything's in chaos? Where do you go to? What is your sanctuary city when the world around you is, again, in chaos? So before I go down my spiel, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, everybody here comes to Bible every morning.
There you go. That's it. There's the answer.
Start your day with the word of the Lord. Yeah, I mean, and I've said this over and over again, and it bears repeating. When I say God is in control, it doesn't mean God is voting the way I vote, right? That's what some people think. Oh, see, this thing happened that you didn't want to happen. Is God really in control? I'm like, yeah, God is in control. I just, I there are things that I want to happen, and God's doing something else, right? Things that if maybe the things that I want to happen are going to happen, but God has an agenda. It's not random. The things that are going on because there's so much going on. I mean, there's
Right.
8 billion people on the planet and 8 billion times a trillion interactions, right? And so there's so much going on, and God is on top of it. Like, he's literally understands every decision every person's making at every moment of every day, every interaction between governments and individuals and businesses, etc. And he's on top of it. He's actually he knows it's happening, and it's all moving toward a purpose that's his. We don't see
Right.
we don't see all the victories happening. There's incredible miracles happening constantly all the time. The news, humans, we tend to like gravitate toward the salacious or the the
Yeah.
dirty laundry or so we consume more bad news than they're actually because we consume more bad news, we tend to think more bad things are happening than good things, but we don't consume all the good news, and there's far more good things happening than bad things. That's just God is in control, right? God is doing it. So
Right.
these things are perplexing. We try to figure them out, and it's good for us to follow along and try and figure them out and to be informed. It's critical to be informed. But to lose heart or to be overly discouraged and frustrated, that's not God's will, right? It's a sin to worry, right? It's actually a sin to worry. You yourself cannot add a single, inch to your height or a day to your life. God's got it. So that's where I go. I go, okay, doesn't make sense. It's crazy, but you're doing something, God, and I trust you and I believe you. So,
Right. Right. It's you have the written word. You have a lot of things you can go to for that sanctuary. Okay. For me,
I mean, the word of God says God used Nebuchadnezzar, right? Like one of the things he's doing is
mhm,
this enemy king that's attacking Israel. That's God's hand, and all the Israelites are going, "Where are you, God?" And the army of Nebuchadnezzar is coming, like, "Here I am, I'm right here. I am judging you for your sins, etc." Right? It's like,
right, right. Well, so you have all those things. There are moments where you go to a new type of sanctuary, a new type of area that goes beyond being on your couch reading something. It goes beyond talking to somebody. It transcends anything you can see or hear. Well, to see as far as reading words or hear. Okay. And that thing is God's majesty. So if y'all could see that,
can you
that
make
is a photo I took from last at the end of last February. I went to the Grand Canyon. Let me tell you, Patriots, like,
can we make that full screen?
uh, I think, hold on. How would I do that? Maybe this?
Maybe you have to zoom in on that image just manually on the other panel or the other. Maybe not. Maybe you can't. It's all right. Where'd you go? I think we lost him. Constitution vet, are you there? He must have pushed a button. Can you guys still hear me? He's frozen. Yeah. Well, let me talk about the Grand Canyon until he gets back. I remember. Oh, Lucas, yes. So I went and visited the Grand Canyon. This was 2 years ago. Uh-oh. All right. He's coming back. He had to. I, I, I made him click around and he disconnected himself. So the Grand Canyon, that picture, the reason I wanted to go full screen was like to do it more justice, right? That little picture in the center of the screen. If we at least bring it bigger, it'll get closer to justice. But even a picture, even if it's a surround, if you're in a complete like a panoramic of it, still doesn't do justice to the Grand Canyon. I'm telling you, if you haven't been there and you walk up to that edge, and it is just it takes your breath away literally. It's awe-inspiring. And here's one of the impressions I had when I went to the Grand Canyon, because I went when I was little with my, on a road trip when we were moving from California to New York, on one of our many moves. We went there and I was 7 years old, I think, and, probably not appreciating it really when I was 7, but I went again for the first time since then a couple years ago. And my dad lives about an hour and a half from the Grand Canyon, so this is, on one of those trips. And you step up to that edge, and the impression I got is this is a reward from the Lord. You get to stand essentially at the top of a mountain without doing the climb. Right? This is the view from when you overlook, when you're standing on the edge looking over the Grand Canyon, you have the sensation of standing on top of a mountain because you're looking down like miles, and the detail, and it's down, so you're like standing on the top of a mountain, like, oh, this is what it's like after a mountain climber climbs and spends days and sacrifices, arduously, the strength and the blood, sweat, and tears to get to the top of the mountain, and then they get up there and they get to look down. Oh, this is why I did this, so I could have this view. Right? That's what mountain climbing, it's the climb is part of the reward, but getting up there and being achieving it, and accomplishment. Well, the Grand Canyon is like, God's, shortcut. Like, you get to see and experience what it's like to be on top of a mountain by looking down in the Grand Canyon. It's incredible. Um, I don't know what else Ben wanted to talk about. I don't know where he went. Uh But I can vamp and talk here. I can. Here, oh, there he's coming. He's back. He's back. Let's He's back. I was about to vamp. I was about
I
to
am so
uh
sorry, Patriots. Uh,
it's my fault. I
it's
made you click around and you disconnected yourself.
I'm so sorry, Patriots. Okay, so, once I get this uploaded here.
Let me
So let me
just
go.
share with you what I just shared with them. I was talking about the
Perfect.
Grand
Sorry about that,
Canyon,
Patriots.
and here's kind of uh, an image or an impression that God gave to me last time I went to the Grand Canyon. When you step up to that edge, it takes your breath away. Like, if you've not been there, if you've not seen it, you don't know there's no justice. Like, a picture like this is amazing, but even if you were able to go full screen on it, it still just does not do it justice. Even if it was a full panoramic and you were looking at them like, wow, that's amazing. Being there, right? Just being there is the only way you're going to get the full experience. And here's what the impression I got was: this is what it is like to be on top of a mountain, right? When you
Right.
look out over that edge, you're looking down. You're looking down, and it's a steep. It's a couple miles deep, and you're just looking down, and it's incredible. And everywhere the eye looks, it's like it's distant, but you're looking down. And so it's like God's a gift from God, where you don't have to do the mountain climbing, right? You don't have to do the arduous sacrifice and muscle and blood, sweat, and tears, and to get up to the top of the mountain. Because when you do that as a mountain climber, one of the rewards is the view. It's like, well, here's God giving you that view just by driving up to the parking, or walking to the edge, and just the majesty of God's incredible creativity. You have a greater appreciation for what He has done. You get
Right.
to be at the top of a
So
mountain.
the I have a bunch of photos, but I don't want that to take away from the main point. So the main point of this is to encourage y'all to literally leave, physically pack your bags, go somewhere, preferably go to a national park, go to a state park, go to somewhere where the physical beauty overwhelms you. Okay. And ideally, go to a place that's so massive, so gargantuan, like the Grand Canyon, the Grand Tetons, the Great Sand Dunes, Smoky Mountains, Glacier National Park. Go all these places because the moment you feel small, when you are puny compared to this entire range of majesty, puts you in the right spot. And that's the whole point. I watched a video recently. It was a documentary of this mountain climber, and it was really cool because when you see his story, you would think, oh, he's doing it for his ego, or he's doing it just to be the best he can be. It wasn't that at all. He was interviewed whenever he reached the top of some mountains in Chile, I think, and he said, "I'm doing this for God. I'm doing this to remind myself how small I actually am. It's not about ego at all. This guy, I forgot his name, but he goes all around the world. And he climbs these crazy mountain ranges, and he does it to remind himself how puny he really is. And when he comes back down, when he comes back to reality, so to speak, he is better able to handle all the chaos. He's able to have a better understanding. He's able to just handle it more because he reminded himself, as big as I think I am, I'm not. That's the point.
It's that vista, right? The nature, right? Wherever you go, it's gorgeous, right? You can go to the Antarctic and be like, it's all white, but it's majestic and it's like amazing, right? And that's more real than your MSNBC pundit talking about whatever, right? Right. That's
Ooh, that's
that's
good.
more permanent and more real,
That's good.
right? Than this little box of communication device spewing information at you. That you're getting communicated to more real when you're on a nature hike than when you
Mhm.
got headphones on or you're listening or you're watching your little screen, right? And real that point was driven home to me when I did my first world traveling. The project I'm working on, I went to 5 different countries. It was a 5-week trip, and some plane rides and some drives through some incredibly gorgeous country on the other side of the planet. And it's like, wait a minute, this planet is so full of gorgeous greenness and gorgeous scenery, and I'm like, this notion that somehow humans are destroying the planet, right? If you're godless, right? If you're
Mm,
godless and
mhm.
you're watching the media, what is the god? It's the earth, right? And it's climate,
Right,
right? The
right.
religion is climate change, right? And so they're like, humans are evil, we're destroying the earth, and it's getting worse, and generations to come it'll be a barren wasteland and it's dystopian future, blah blah blah. I'm like, BS. I'm sorry. Every place is gorgeous. Right? Every place is gorgeous. There's plenty of room for plenty more people. You can double the human population and it'll be a blip. Right? It'd be a blip on this planet. Double, triple, quadruple the human population. Ain't nothing
Mhm.
gonna destroy this place. We couldn't if we tried. And so it's like, yeah, okay. Fear mongering is just to control the masses. It's just to control the masses. Get out there and get a full dose of nature, man. Get out into God's, where did God take Moses to talk to him? Up a mountain,
Yeah.
right? Let's
Yeah,
go up this
he didn't take
mountain.
him he didn't take Moses into the middle of some temple. They didn't go to the central part of a city.
Yeah,
There's a reason for that,
yeah.
right? There's
I
all
can
these
talk to you out
reasons.
here. I can talk to you out here.
So, I guess, aside from my slight, deportation there for a second, the main point of today's episode, again, is reminding y'all to make the time to seek out God's majesty. Don't get me wrong, his word is perfect. I'm not saying that's bad, but his word is amplified when you put yourself in the right position. And the right position is you're small, you're puny, and that's okay. That's the point. That's a photo I took when we were going halfway down. So my
Oh, you went
father-in-law,
down in?
yeah, my father-in-law and I, we went all the way down. We hiked down to Phantom Ranch. We conquered the Grand Canyon. And
Um, which rim did you start
we
from?
went down the South Rim,
Yeah,
right?
that's Arizona is
In
the South
fact,
Rim, yeah.
let me I don't have,
Um,
like, a few
see.
photos. I have a video up in somewhere else, but this is us coming back up, and this is a little map of the hike going back up.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I
But,
gotta
yeah,
do that. I gotta do it. Oh,
it was amazing, and,
go back to the map. Go back to that map of the hike.
yeah,
Yeah, look at that. So, okay, here, this is you going up. So you're in the Grand Canyon, but imagine this is a mountain, and
Yeah.
imagine you see that line, that yellow line. That's your lifespan, right?
Mm.
We are all
Mhm.
ascending. We are ascending, right? We're climbing this mountain of life. We are on a journey, and we look straight at the top of the mountain where Jesus is, right? We look straight up and we think a straight line because our eyes are fixed on him, and we keep our eyes fixed on him, but our feet have to overcome all these obstacles in our path, right? We go up this little ridge, and then we have to go down to the right, and then we have to climb up there and come up and go
Mm.
up to the left, and then go down to the left and up to right. That's our life's journey. But there's a phrase that I've been hearing recently, and I think it's Doug Wilson in Moscow, Idaho. It's God draws straight with crooked lines. That's the that's our life, right? God picks broken vessels to do perfection, right? His kingdom is
Right.
built with broken vessels. God draws straight with crooked lines. And look, ultimately this is straight to the top, but it's not a straight line. So
When
there's
when
my
you're
little
when you're
visual.
climbing that, when you're climbing that and you're looking towards the side of the cliff, that's chaos. It feels overwhelming. It's
Right.
chaotic. You can't see forward. You can't see the end. But when you turn around and face away from the cliffside and into the canyon, then you remind yourself how small you really are. And then you get this peace that you can't get anywhere else. That peace that only comes from God. And
I
so,
want to
go
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you're good.
You had a thought you were going to finish.
No, I'm done.
And so you were just vamping. No. I just want to, I agree. You've said how small we are, or when you were talking about that guy, that's the, how puny or how minuscule we individual humans are. But I want to kind of push back on that notion. We're not small. Well, yes, in the physical sense, comparatively to the universe, yes, we're tiny, but we are God's favorite, if you
Mm,
will, right? We are the crowning achievement. And so God doesn't see like we see. We are huge. We are so huge that he shed his own blood for us, right? So
mm,
we are, and so that idea or language kind of, is cumbersome in that sense. Like, yeah, we're small, but we're not small, right? We are the most important thing in the universe to God. And so, and keep in mind, when you are enjoying these vistas and having that sense of majesty and wow, I'm this tiny speck, just remember that whole vista was designed for you,
right.
right? That vista
Yeah.
you're seeing,
Yeah.
you may feel small, but no, all of that bigness was created specifically for you
Even
to
though I'm
enjoy
small,
and appreciate,
even though I am small, God still knows me by name. Even though I
right?
am puny compared to his majesty, God still sent his son for me. And let that be the encouragement. So,
And he has elevated us and put us at the top of the mountain in Jesus Christ, right? We are the conquerors. When I stand at the rim of the Grand Canyon, I look out and I have to realize this is mine. This actually belongs to me. This is my physical property because we own it, right? Jesus came,
mhm,
all authority in heaven and earth have been given to me. Go and make disciples of all nations. Why? So that we can live in the garden the way it was intended, right? The planet Earth, the garden that God created for us, it's ours. So I could keep going. So
Patriots,
we're almost
I'm
out of
so
time. We
sorry,
got
but
10
we gotta
seconds.
go. Never
All right.
surrender, never
Love you.
submit. Take care, Patriots. I know it's chaotic right now, but seek out that majesty and you will find peace.
God is in control.
There.